My name is Latrivia Mears, and I'm the program coordinator at TwinCedarsCAC Child Advocacy Center. I also double as the therapist here. TwinCedarsCAC Child Advocacy Center is a location developed by our community where children who have experienced abuse and neglect or any type of crime can come and talk about their experiences in a developmentally appropriate way. The main goal of the Child Advocacy Center is to take a multidisciplinary team approach where law enforcement, the DA's office, Child Protective Services, and all of our staff at the CAC come together to investigate child abuse cases where we minimize the re-victimization of the child, where they only have to tell their story one time. Prior to CAC's, children had to talk to several entities, which created more exposure to the events and potentially discrepancies in their stories. We provide 4 core services. Our first service is forensic interviewing, where children are questioned in a developmentally appropriate way to collect their experiences by our trained forensic interviewers. All of our forensic interviewers are trained at the National Child Advocacy Center in Huntsville. Our second core service is trauma-informed therapy. Our therapist is nationally certified as a trauma-focused behavior cognitive therapist, and this is an empirically studied approach to helping children cope with the symptoms of experiencing traumatic things such as depression, anxiety, PTSD symptoms, and behavioral issues that arise when children experience trauma. Our third service is family advocacy, and this service is dedicated to helping our non-offending caregivers connect to the community and get resources. So a lot of times when families come in, they're not aware of the impact of what's going to happen. A lot of times families lose their sole provider. Sometimes families have to relocate. Sometimes we have to take children's clothes as part of the investigation, and we would like to have all of our services done in one location. Our family advocate also acts as the liaison between the family and our investigative team. So when parents need support, or need updates on the case, our family advocate is the person who does that. We also accompany all of our families to court if their cases reach that point. Our last service is our forensic medical exams that are conducted by our sexual assault nurse examiner. She's contracted, so she comes in on an emergency basis. All of our same exams are completed here on site. If we did not have a same program, our families were having to travel to Children's in Birmingham, which, in our community, that's hard for a lot of families. The gas, the transportation, and just being able to take off from work to go and see about your child. Our community came together and decided that wasn't fair, and that we needed something locally that supported our children and helped families heal when something awful has happened. So I began working at TwinCedarsCAC Child Advocacy Center in February of 2017. But my passion for helping people who, are otherwise unseen and don't have a voice started long before that point. I used to work at a group home for girls, and, in that time, I realized I had a passion for listening to people who don't have a voice, but also advocating for people that others have long forgotten. When I started at the Child Advocacy Center, I was like, whoa, that may be too much for me, but when I got here, I fell in love. I fell in love with the resiliency of our children and, just the team of people that I work with. We all have an ongoing passion for what we do. When you hear stories about children being abused, you expect to see these little people who are broken and bruised and having a hard time functioning. But when you work in this environment, that's not what we get oftentimes. When we open those doors and we welcome kids in, they run in like they've known us their whole lives. And we're like, welcome, come in, and they're just playing. And the resilience that I see in those children and the resilience I see in the families, and being the therapist here also, I get to see the long-term growth and healing of the children that I work with. Whereas in our other disciplines, that's not really always the case. So I get to stay with the kids for a really long time and see them grow and heal. Most of our kids have gone through more than what most people go through in their lifetimes. And they've only been alive on average about 14 years. And to see them to grow and heal and move forward from that is the most beautiful thing. It's what keeps me coming. It keeps me going. And, you know, maybe a little bit of selfishness in there, in that I love seeing our children heal and continue to grow and not allow one incident, no matter how terrible, define their lives. So here at the Child Advocacy Center, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but all of our services are free to families. But someone has to pay for them, right? So we apply for grants. We have federal grants, we have local grants, and we have state grants. But oftentimes that's not enough. Due to our economic status and COVID, a lot of our funders have been cut tremendously. So we have to rely on fundraising, and we have to rely on community donations to maintain our services at the quality and level that we currently do. So grants are great, but they aren't enough. I can't stress that enough, that they are not enough. So if the community wants to donate, we take monetary donations, we take clothing, we take in-kind items, we take volunteer work. Every little bit counts. And oftentimes we get individuals who, you know, somehow we've impacted their lives or their families in some way, and they put in a good word for us, and that's usually how we get donations. We also use our Facebook and our Instagram to solicit donations to our clothing closet, our food pantry, and to our community events that we host in hopes to spread awareness and to get monetary donations as well. If I could put it into numbers for you, one forensic and medical exam costs $450, and that does not cover lab fees, contraceptions, or outside follow-ups. Forensic interviews are about an hour, and they cost, if we had to put a number on it, about $120. But something as small as $25 can provide a complete outfit for a child where we have to take their clothes during a forensic medical exam for investigative purposes. $5 can provide a shirt and underwear for a child simply from Target. If you have children, and sometimes our adults, especially our college students, donate clothing because oftentimes our parents need resources as well. So we take donations in the form of clothing, diapers, wipes, formula. We try to be the place where our families can get everything they need in one stop. When children experience trauma, that's not something parents are going and shouting from the rooftops. They don't have a whole community of people they can talk to about what they're experiencing in this moment, and that's what we try to provide. Community, safety, understanding in a non-judgmental way. So every single dollar counts. A lot of people know that our CAC has been here since 1992 and began providing services in 1993. And that's simply because that we're a referral-based program, and people don't know about us unless they have to use us. And we hope most of you never have to use us, but nonetheless the service is still here, and people are still being abused and mistreated every single day. Our neighbors, our teachers, the kids we see on the bus, the kids we see at the park. On average, 1 in 4 children, 1 in 4 little girls before their 18th birthday will experience some type of sexual abuse. 1 in 5 boys. If you're in a classroom and you have 20 children, if you had the opportunity to have someone raise their hand, I guarantee you out of that 20, at least 3 children would raise their hands. That's unfortunate, and it shouldn't have to happen, but they all need a safe space, and we are that. You go to our website, type in TwinCedarsCAC.org. You can donate. There's a link to donate on there. If you go to our Facebook, Twin Cedars Child Advocacy Center, we're the only one. You can donate there as well. You can write me on Messenger to ask for additional information if that's necessary. Our Instagram is TwinCedarsCAC. You can go on there to contact us as well. But also our address is 1810 Corporate Drive in Opelika, Alabama. You can always stop by to get additional information, to donate, to drop off clothing. You can also give us a call at 334-705-0770. My extension is 4003. Or you can call my cell phone at 334-552-1153. We answer all calls, we take all donations, and we try to answer questions even if you're not coming to our agency for services.